Hello and welcome back to City and County's Money Lessons for Kids. My name's Tori and I'm so happy that you're joining me today. Last month we talked all about saving money. Today we're going to talk about the difference between your wants versus your needs. We have some really fun activities planned for today, one that we're going to do together and another one for you to do alone at home. Before we jump right in though, let's go ahead and grab all the supplies that you're going to need. First, you're going to want to grab a pair of headphones, especially if there's anyone around you that doesn't want to listen in or follow along with us. The second thing you're going to need is a piece of paper and a writing utensil. This can be a colored pencil, marker, pen, whatever you'd like to write with. Now, go ahead, pause the video, gather your supplies, and then when you're ready with your supplies, come back, hit play, and join me. Welcome back. Do you have all your supplies ready? Good. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking today all about the difference between your wants versus your needs. It's important to understand the difference when we're deciding about how to spend our money. Your parents have to make these decisions all the time. When they understand what a want versus need is, it helps them make good decisions about how to spend their money. Now, let's talk about what is a want? What is a need? Let's start with the need. What is a need? Can you tell me? Shout it out. Good. A need is something that we can't live without. Now, what is a want? Shout it out for me. A want is something that we'd like to have, but we can live without it. Good. Gosh, you are so smart. Now that we understand the difference between the two, let's talk about the needs again. As humans, we have 3 basic human needs. Can you guess what one of them is? I'll give you a hint. It starts with the letter F. Shout it out for me. Good. If you said food and water, you are right. We need food in order to survive. A lot of food out there is good for us. It gives us a lot of good source of energy to help keep us healthy and keep us moving every day. But some food isn't healthy and it doesn't give us good energy, like a cookie or snacks or a treat. Those are all examples of a food want. A food need would be something that's going to give us energy, keep us going on day to day. That would be something like a fruit and vegetable. Remember that as we move forward in our lesson. Now, can you tell me the second basic human need? It starts with the letter C. Good. If you said clothing, you are so smart. You know, you might be thinking, this one's a tricky one. Clothing, do we really need that to survive? Yes, we do. Clothing is a form of shelter for our bodies. We need it in order to keep us safe and protected. However, there's some clothing that we don't absolutely need that would be considered a want. Let's say I have one pair of shoes that work really well for me on a day-to-day to walk, but I want these new sparkly shoes. The sparkly shoes would be considered a want. The day-to-day shoes that I already have that work well for me are a need. Now, let's talk about the third and final basic human need. Can you shout it out for me? It starts with the letter S. Good. If you said shelter, you are right. Shelter is something that we absolutely can't live without. It helps keep us safe, helps keep us protected, but it's important to understand that we don't need a fancy big house. That would be considered a want. I want to dive right in and talk more specifically about some of these examples that we already talked about, like vegetables you heard me mention, fruit, candy. Let's look at some specifics in the food category and help me decide, is it a need or is it a want? Then we're going to go into our next category that we talked about, clothing. I'm going to show you some examples of a few different clothing pieces. Help me decide, again, is it a need or is it a want? Lastly, we're going to actually do an at-home activity with an adult or legal guardian that you trust, and that will be under the category shelter. First, let's dive right into the activity. On the screen, we have 2 different categories, wants and needs. We're going to first show some pictures of food items. Remember, we talked about how food is one of our basic needs. We need food to keep our bodies healthy and give us energy. Some food does not help our bodies stay healthy though. These foods are considered wants instead of needs. Here's the first picture. Can you tell me, is this a want or a need? Shout it out for me. Looks like there's chips, popcorn, some other snacks. Good. If you said want, you are right. We do not need chips and popcorn and snacks to survive. They do not provide us with a good source of energy to keep us moving. How about this next picture here? Looks like there's a lot of good vegetables, some broccoli, carrots. What do you think this goes under? Good. If you said need, you are right. Vegetables give us a lot of good energy and they're a good source of nutrition. What about this next picture here? There's some chocolates, a lollipop, some gumballs, my favorite. What do you think this goes under? Good. This is a want. Candy does not give us any nutritional value and does not help us move our bodies every day. What about this last picture here? Looks like there's some oranges, grapes, apples, lots of good fruit. Good. If you said need, you are right. Fruit is also a good source of energy for our bodies. We need it to survive. Good. Now let's go into our next category, clothing. Here's the first picture in our clothing category. There's lots of jewelry, there's a bracelet, some earrings. Do you think this is a want or a need? Good. If you said want, you are right. We do not need jewelry in order to survive. It does not protect our bodies. What about these sneakers right here? These are ones that I use to walk on a day-to-day to protect my feet. Do you think these are a want or a need? Good. If you said need, you are correct. Remember, earlier in the lesson, we talked about how everyday shoes are a necessity to help keep our feet protected. But we do not need multiple pairs of shoes in order to survive, like a sparkly shoe that we really want to have. We do not need those if we have one pair that works really well on a day-to-day. What about this next picture here? Looks like there's some winter coats, some jackets, pants. Good. If you said need, you are right. We need clothing to protect our bodies. It is a form of shelter. But remember, it's important to have one piece of clothing item for each need, like a jacket and pants, but you don't need multiple in order to survive. What about this next item here? It's a beautiful orange bag. What do you think? Do you think this is a want or a need? Good. This is a want. We do not need a purse in order to survive. It is an added accessory. What about hat and mittens? This is a tricky one. Do you think it's a want or a need? Good. This is actually a need, especially in Minnesota during our harsh winters. We need mittens and hats in order to stay warm. Good. I'm going to take all these away now. Thanks for helping me with my homework today. It looks like we have an equal amount of wants and needs. I wonder if we have more wants than needs in our own home. For your at-home activity, I want you to do this by yourself. Make a list of everything that you can think of in your house, like a TV, your couch, video games, your dolls. After you have made your list, circle all of your needs in green and then all of your wants in red. Remember, a need is something that we can't live without, and a want is something that we would like to have, but we can live without it. Once you're finished, I encourage you to have a parent or adult that you trust check your list and see if it's right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.